Okay.
So,
Now the whole reason for this meeting is because we're getting a lot of complaints in regards to patient care. It might not necessarily be whoever's in this room, but the way we look at it is if we have your name on this paper and you were a part of this meeting and we know that we talked to you, we get another complaint like the ones we've been getting, we know who to come to, and you were here, you knew not to do this kind of thing. One of the things, this is for my husband, everybody knows Chris York. You need, as far as your checkoffs, he's getting maybe 2 or 3 wheelchair checkoff sheets. Everybody, it's mandatory that you guys do these state checkoff ambulette forms.
looks like this. You guys know what this looks like? You know what this is?
We, for example, there was a couple wheelchair drivers yesterday, Mike Atkins had come up to and said, do you have, hey, is your truck good? You got this, you got this? And some of them had absolutely no clue. The answer was, I don't know. And well, you should know because you're supposed to be doing an ambulette checkoff form every morning and turning it in. So Chris puts it in the computer. He shows, the oil changes. It's got you have to have your name on it and your truck number on it, your mileage. Is the ambulette's got the sticker? Because I know the ambulances, they have to give the mileage and the sticker.
Should have a sticker when
You do the sticker, then you do the mileage, truck number, date.
Okay. Well, that has to be done
It's
every
not
morning.
paper like that though, it's just a little.
Yeah, don't
you have
use
to
those.
Yeah. This is for the state, so you have to do this, and next week.
I've only been doing the little.
Well, this has your equipment in it, so this has everything that's.
So don't use the small.
I think you can use these,
That's
but this is.
That's the
Yeah,
one
but that has
I've been
nothing to do
using.
with the equipment. So this has the type of equipment that you're supposed to have in your vehicle.
Okay.
Now next week we're getting audited by the state on that. Now every single one of those vehicles passed. So either I or Chris put all that stuff in there and it passed. So it's only going to be missing something if you guys took it out or you used it and didn't replace it. So you need to go through this list and either ensure the back right here where it says equipment requirements. That's everything you have to have in your vehicle. How many of you guys have blankets in there right now? So you guys don't, right? That's required. How many of you guys have paper towels?
Flares.
Yeah, it's all required. So when you leave here today and she's done, go to your vehicle, grab one of these, double check everything. Because when Daryl comes, and Chris is going to be out here with Daryl, and they go through your vehicle and you're missing something, it's not my fault because, we have everything up here. I buy everything, So it's your fault because you didn't take the responsibility to check your vehicle, okay?
So we do them every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
Someone may go out and get in your wheelchair truck after you go home and grab it for the on-call car. And then they decide, I'm not saying anybody does it, but let's just say they decide that they need that blanket for home. They don't have one, and now you've got a blanket missing off your truck. The next day, your truck gets inspected by Daryl and you're missing stuff. They're going to hold that against you because, well, you did your checkoff sheet this morning, didn't you? If you do your checkoff sheet every morning, you're going to know if you have something missing on that truck. So that's why it needs to be done daily and turned in.
Smaller, I haven't been filling out that sheet there.
Yeah, that helps to make sure that everything on your.
Sometimes I've been told before, like if I need wipes or something, they'll say, well, grab it out of someone else's truck, and I don't think that's right.
No, you're not.
I don't know who's telling you to do that, but you definitely don't need to do
Yeah,
that.
don't
So-
take it off of any other truck.
Right. Chris is down there. I mean, you can go to his office and he'll lock you up here and get you a key to go in here and get
Oh,
whatever
yeah, he
you
gave
need.
me everything.
Right,
the other day for that
So
inspection.
don't take it off someone else's truck because, that's just going to hurt someone else when they need something.
Now, do we give those to the dispatch, or do we turn them in with our
You
paper?
just turn them in.
You
and
can
they
turn them,
sort through
or you can put them. Everybody knows where Chris's office is. He's got that thing on his door.
Okay.
That's where a lot of the ambulance people are doing it. They're just dropping it on his door, and he gets it out every morning and he inputs it into the system so he knows. One click and he can tell you when your truck was checked off, it was your last oil change, everything. So now as far as the check off, I don't know how long it takes to check off. I've done a wheelchair truck before. I went through every motion as far as checking off wheelchair trucks, checking off cot trucks, oils. You have to check your transmission fluid. You gotta check all that stuff. So if you guys are going to be late for your appointment, I usually bring everybody in 15 minutes before their pickup. If you're going to Heritage Square and it's a 9:30 pickup, I bring you in at 9. I figure that's 15 minutes to check off your truck, get it warmed up and whatever, and then get there. If I'm not bringing you in enough time, or you guys think that if you're cutting it close, by all means let me know so I can change that time. If I'm only given 45 minutes to get to Edgewood and you're literally pulling in at the time of the pickup, let me know and I'll add an extra 15 minutes onto it. I don't know because I don't check your truck off every morning and drive there. I know there's construction with the bypass and everything else. If it's if it's a problem, let me know, because I'm definitely not doing it on purpose. Just let me know what's going on with it, and I can change that. People are getting wrote up for not cleaning their trucks. You guys are supposed to be cleaning your trucks inside and out. I've got 3 complaints just this week in regards to patients getting in trucks that someone is in daily. You guys are assigned to a truck. You're not in any other truck unless that truck breaks down. So if a patient gets in it or somebody gets in your truck because you're not here today and it broke down, I've got people coming in saying this patient, the truck was absolutely filthy. Like they wouldn't even put their dog in it, was the exact words told to me. So every day that you leave, you're supposed to be making sure that the inside of your truck and the outside of your truck is clean. Everything. Don't leave food in it. You don't leave any personal items in it. If you come up the next day and you say, hey, my clipboard's gone, I need one, I can't help that. The company can't help that. Don't leave your personal belongings in your truck. Even though you're assigned to it, it doesn't mean that somebody else is not going to get in that truck when you're not in it. Okay, the big one right now that we need to deal with is the fact of that everybody, the safety belts and the safety straps. When you go to pick up patients, everybody in here knows how a belt goes around the patient. We have people that are not doing that. You have to have a belt around your patient, around the wheelchair, and you're strapping that wheelchair down 4 points, all 4 wheels. I don't even know how many complaints we've had in the last month, and videos to watch of patients tipping. And we're watching them tip over, people that have patients complaining of their heads hitting the side of the truck, because everybody here has been orientated how they're supposed to be orientated. Everybody here has been checked off and given the green light to be on your own. And yet we have some of those people that are not strapping their patients down properly or even putting a belt around their waist on the wheelchair. So, and that's been a really, really, really big problem lately. So everybody here knows that you need to tie all 4 wheels down. You need to make sure that's secure. Everybody knows there needs to be a belt around the patient's waist.
Now, like for some of the patients that have the built-in belts with their seats, like their wheelchairs, do they still have to have that little belt?
It's not going to hurt to put another one around them, so
Okay.
I would definitely put another belt around them. 2 straps are going to hold them in better than one, so.
As soon as you guys see them, the first thing you do, introduce yourself to them, say hi, say your name, say who you were here with, put that belt on. You know, that should be the first point of contact that you guys make with these guys.
That's what I do.
Yeah, and then you know that they're into their chair. You know, they're not. As soon as you start pushing them, you know, especially some of them that aren't very strong, you know, that they could easily fall out of that chair. The first thing you guys need to do as soon as you get there, put that orange belt around.
And they're not like me and you. You know, if we fall down, we can get right back up.
Yeah.
You know, these patients are elderly. If they have one tumble and they hit their head, you know, they could die from that. So, you know, that's a lot of responsibility on your guys' hands. So you really have to take it serious.
The reason why I was asking because I know one patient that she's got cerebral palsy or whatever, and she's got like a 5-point racing harness on already. Plus, I've got the shoulder strap deal in my truck that fastens in the back and comes all the way around.
Yeah. One more strap is not going to hurt. It's just going to make sure they're in there. And the other thing, some of you people are training. Like if Misty has you guys training and you get someone and you know, you're supposed to be checking them off and you don't feel that, you know, they're competent right now to go on their own, please don't sign your name saying that they are ready to go on their own, because that's just going to get someone injured is all that's going to do. So, you know, don't be like, oh, I don't want to make them mad, you know. Please, you know, be honest on that paper. Come let Misty know, and you know, you're not going to get in trouble for needing an extra day of training. We just, you know, we want to ensure that everyone can properly do their job.
It's a mandatory 3 days, but if you feel like they need an extra day or 2, then there's nothing wrong with that. We want to make sure that they're trained right. We don't want them just to go out on their own and have 20 questions in their head, but yet they didn't think to ask it on that day, and then that'd be a problem. Another big issue that we have is wheelchair drivers are not understanding that you guys basically are a meta taxi in a way. You're responsible for that patient, but the problem is you are not supposed to be touching that patient. That patient, you can't assist them down the stairs. You can't hold their hand while they stand. They have to be able to stand and pivot on their own they need to be able to get down those stairs. The family helping them or whatnot. You can't do that. You guys can't touch them in any way. They need to be able to make it to your truck. You push them in your truck. Then it's your responsibility to get them from point A to point B safely and inside that doctor's office. If they need to stand up and get onto a doctor's table or a chair or bed or whatnot, that's all on them and whoever they may have with them to assist them. You guys can't do that. There is no touching, no helping. If you get there and a patient comes walking out of their house, they just come walking out and they bebop to your truck. You went to that place to pick up a wheelchair patient. You didn't go there to pick up a car patient. So if you're in Chillicothe, which I know I send a lot of you guys to Chillicothe right now because we don't have enough drivers up there. You go to a Chillicothe residence and that patient comes walking out to your truck. You already know in your head, this is a wheelchair run. You need to call dispatch and let them know, hey, this person's walking out to my truck. They're not getting in your truck and sitting in the front seat. They're in a wheelchair from point A to point B while they're at that appointment, back in your truck and back home. What they do inside their residence is their business. They have to be in a wheelchair. Car service is only good for certain areas. Like, you have to be inside a county if you're going to be NET. If you don't have managed care like Care Source and you're in Chillicothe or these outer stations, you're not a car. You're not a car run. So don't put anybody in your front seat that's just bebopping out to your car. It's a wheelchair run. So we've got people that are doing that. And nursing homes are the same way. If you walk into a nursing home, you're picking that patient's either walking out there, unless we have some specific ones that are cars from nursing homes. But unless you were specifically told that's a car patient, don't go into a nursing home. You don't want to make the nursing home mad that, oh no, they can sit up front. No. That we can't bill that. That's it, and you turn in that run sheet and billing tries to bill that, that's illegal. They can't do that. So it's just a simple, let me check with my dispatch. I was told this patient goes by wheelchair. And regardless if that nurse gets upset or not, you have to be able to do your job. You're following your protocol and doing what you were trained to do. Don't let anybody just bebop out to your car and hop in the front seat if you weren't specifically told, hey, this is a car run.
Some of those, you guys, we have had instances where someone will pick a person up, they'll take them to the doctor, they'll come back, then they'll stand up out of their wheelchair, they'll walk over, get in the front seat of their car and drive away. Well, I mean, if they're driving a car and you leave and take them home, there was no reason they couldn't drive the car to their own doctor's appointment. So stuff like that needs to be reported. That way we can send a representative out to investigate, to make sure they're not abusing the system, okay?
I just had that happen a week or so ago.
Alright, then we just need to know that person's name and you can talk to us after the fact and they can go investigate.
Where she is.
Yeah, that definitely needs.
She got in her van and went to Walmart.
Right, and if you're driving your own car to Walmart, there's no reason you can't drive your car to the doctor's office. So there's certain guidelines that we have to follow. And on the class that we do teach, it does say that you can one person assist, and by that means it's just helping their hand. What some of you guys are doing, some of you guys are completely bear hugging people, picking them up, putting them in chairs, and that we can't do. We actually had a patient break her ankle last week because she should have never went in a wheelchair, and I think she started to fall, and yeah, her ankle was broken. So, we don't want to prevent any more injuries on any other patients. So there's some instances where we're going to need to talk to the nurses on the proper way the patient needs to be scheduled. So the only thing you guys are our eyes and ears, because we can't be out here seeing all the patients. So you're our eyes and ears. You let us know what you see, and then we'll send someone out to investigate it, determine what the proper way of transportation is. So.
And nurses, don't think just because these nurses in the nursing homes, they take care of these patients every day. A lot of these nurses have no clue. They'll call us, we get it all day long. The patient needs to go by cot. Okay, well, what's wrong with them? Are they bedbound? Oh, no, they walk around here all the time. They're just looking at it like you're the transportation. They can be cot, they can be wheelchairs, and they don't care how they go. They just need transport from their facility to the doctor. So, I mean, you're going to get that a lot. These nurses don't know how it works as far as the justifiable way of transporting a patient, whether it's cot or wheelchair. You might get to a nursing facility, and there are some wheelchair drivers that do it. It's like, oh, God, this patient can't go by. She's sitting in a wheelchair, but she's sliding out of it. She's slumped over. She's non-coherent whatsoever. You know that you're one person in a truck. You can't take care of that patient. So it's a simple phone call in just to make sure, because some of these nurses, they really don't know. They're just calling you to take their patient to the doctor. So another problem we have is the difference between our sprinters and our berries. Some of you are in 400, some of you are in sprinters. Power chairs. Power chairs cannot go on lifts. Our insurance doesn't cover it. The main thing, the way you got to look at it is that person in a power chair controls their power chair. If you've got them halfway up, in the air on a lift and they accidentally hit their lever, they're driving right off the back of your lift. And that's serious injury. So power chairs, absolutely not on any lifts. If you're, the best way to look at it, and the way I try to explain it to the people training to go to dispatch, is the 400s can't do power chairs. So I mean that's anything. The sprinters, of course, do the power chairs, and a lot of the times we have some berry patients that can go in sprinters. That's where you guys have to help me. I know I had to work on that the other day. We had a patient that they said he's berry, and I've been putting him in a berry truck. Well, no, he fits in a few sprinters, but it's because the tires aren't in there, or there's not a seat that's back here. I'm not in these trucks. So if you guys know of a patient that, oh no, yeah, they're fine, they can totally go in a truck. Or I've got some patients that they say can only go, I have 409 and 410. That's the only truck they'll fit in. But it's because of something that has to do with tires or whatever. So if you guys know of certain patients that you've transported that, oh no, I've transported them in my truck, they're not berry, or, you know, or so forth, please let me know, because I won't know unless you tell me. But you pull up somewhere and it's a power chair, please, and you're in a 400, please do not put don't put power chairs on the lifts.
Another thing about power chairs really quick, we had an employee transported a patient, and he didn't get the straps on the power chair really well. And I know the power chairs are different, and there's not always a secure place to strap them down, and our rule is to strap them down the best you can. Well, they weren't on very well, and the power chair tipped during transport, and the lady hit her head. So my thought is, make sure that is secured down before you leave, and if you can't secure the power chair for some reason, call and let us know, because we're going to have to cancel the transport, and she's going to have to go buy a manual wheelchair. And I know, Brian, you said all those are different. Some of them you can't even.
Yeah, you guys know that. You can get some of the power chairs, and some of them are easy to attach your hooks onto, and other ones, you know, you can't find it any place on the chair to put them on. And if you can't, if there's literally, you know, you can't find any place to strap them down, you know, call back to dispatch, call to them. We're probably not going to be able to take that patient.
Yeah.
Them power chairs, sometimes some of them got hooks, but there's always a place to hook it somewhere. There's the frame.
Okay.
Because I run across it and not have no hooks on it. There's parts of the frame that you hook to where they will not go.
Right, and
if you look.
Right, and he said he tried to put them on, but they weren't on at all, and we just can't take somewhere and not strap them down at all. I mean, you're going to tip over. But the lady, she did hit her head, so you know we're dealing with that. But I mean, all injuries can be prevented, you guys. So
but there is a place to look somewhere on it.
Okay, but if you would get somewhere, maybe a new person can't figure it out, then just tell them all. Because I know Vanderbilt, you orientate a lot. So if they can't find it, tell them just to call us. You know, I'll send someone else out, or you know, we'll just cancel it and let them go in a regular wheelchair. We'll figure it out. I mean, each situation is going to be different, but.
Do you guys have reporting on that list of stuff to go with?
Of what?
Reporting, how to report incidences that.
I have that on here.
Yeah,
they need to notify compliance.
Yeah. Anyway, you can go on.
Yeah, we've got some drivers that are saying that they didn't know you have a patient that got hurt or tipped over, might have scraped their arm or whatever. They said they don't even, well, I didn't know I needed to report that. Or their truck got dinged, or you backed into a sign, you know, it didn't really hurt the truck, and some paint and whatnot. Anything that happens to your truck or a patient that you're transporting, you need an incident report, which everybody has their company email. You have to send that to compliance. Compliance needs to know that. Anything that happens, regardless of what it is, you want to cover yourself and make sure that they know what's going on. Compliance needs to know anything that happens to you, that truck, or that patient while you're on the clock. So any kind of, I mean, it's pretty much anything.
Yeah, failure to report that, the new updated policy that we just signed, does result in automatic termination. Because in my eyes, what it looks like, if you don't report something, you're trying to hide it for some reason. So if I find out about something 2 months ago, where a patient says, oh, your wheelchair driver flipped me over out of the wheelchair, but he picked me up, put me back in, and pushed me on in the doctor's office. Well, 2 months later, I found out that the patient dies. You know, how does that make me look? That makes me look like I'm trying to cover it up, when really the person didn't report it to me, so I could follow the steps with the insurance company. So, you know, you do have to report everything, and then we'll look into it. But please don't.
And know that most things, that if you guys do think you might be able to get away with something, you're probably not going to be able to. we're going to review the cameras, and usually if something happens, that person's going to call in here and make a complaint. So you're better off, anything that pops up, just fill it out, email that down to them, and at least we have it on file. That there's no discipline, that might result from whatever happened, but at least we have it on file, we have it documented, and if anything else arises from the situation, we can go from there.
Yeah, the cameras, I mean, the texting and driving. There are so many, just because there's a camera in there doesn't mean that they're not gonna, oh, well, they won't see it that day. They pull chips from cameras all day, every day. So, I mean, they might not have pulled your chip today, but they'll pull it a week from now, and they'll see what you did last week. I mean, anybody that's driving down the road, you need to understand, that camera can see everything you're doing. Just because you're putting your phone down here below the steering wheel doesn't mean that we can't see it. So, no, there's no texting and driving. Everybody, I believe, already knows that, even though it happens on a daily basis. The call-offs, I wanted everybody to understand what I do as far as call-offs go, because I do get a lot of phone calls the next day asking me why am I not on the schedule. I called last night and told them I was fine. If you call in 30 minutes before your shift, or you call in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you call off for that shift, I'm looking at it like, apparently it was important enough to you had to call off. You will be left off the schedule. If at all possible, you will be left off the schedule the next day. Because I'm going to make sure that whatever you needed to do that was so important to call off, you got it taken care of. So I will not put you on the schedule the next day. And that's if I can help it. I know there are some instances that someone will work the next day, but hey, guess what? That next day that I don't need you, you're gonna get a day off. You're putting the company at hardship, and these patients that we have to cancel. And the last person that called off at 4 o'clock in the morning knew he wasn't working when he called in to get his time the night before, and it wasn't for anything important, nothing whatsoever. I won't go into it, but it's just the point of that. That's how I'm looking at it, and that's the way I see it. So if anybody's going to call off, if you call off when you get your time, I know people get sick. I don't have a problem with that. We all get sick, and we don't want you making patients sick. So I mean, that's understandable. But if you're left off the next day, I don't know that you're not sick that next day either. So, sometimes it's a 24-hour bug, sometimes it's not. But I'm not doing it to people on purpose. I'm not, trying to get back at somebody. I don't do that. So if you're left off, it's due to the fact of I'm just making sure that you're not going to do it again. Everything that you got is done, and you guys are good to go. And that's not just one person, that's everybody, any wheelchair driver. So I'm making sure, because everybody thinks that I'm picking on them. I've been doing this for 23 years. I don't pick on anybody. So if you think that there's going to be a problem, or you have a problem with something that I'm doing, by all means call me. I have no problem in telling you why I do or why I did what I did. Not a problem whatsoever. I will definitely let you know.
Your doctor's excuses, let's say you are sick, you go to the urgent care, they diagnose you with the flu, you can email that doctor's excuse into Richard. So say Misty leaves you off the next day, then that is ample time for you to bring your doctor's excuse in and give it to Richard. What he does is then he emails her to let her know, hey, this person is good and they can come back to work. Because there are going to be times that happen. And she's back there doing her schedule. She doesn't know that you're better, or doesn't know that you fell and broke your ankle and you can't work for the next 6 weeks. She has no idea until we get that email from Richard. So you guys, you can stop down and give it to Richard if you want, or you can email Richard. Everyone should know his email address. And the outer stations, they need to email, because you're not going to see Richard. So
Saturdays. I've been putting a calendar up, which of course now Dispatch doesn't have a door, so I really don't know where I'm going to put it. I spoke with Mike Atkins in regards to this, because I'm having problems with people with not being able to cover our dialysis on Saturdays. There's enough people in Portsmouth that every single person in Portsmouth could volunteer one Saturday, and you would work, if everybody would comply, you would work maybe one Saturday every 4 or 5 months. I have certain people that are working every Saturday because they want the hours, they like it, and that's great. So usually I need maybe 1 or 2 extra people. So you think of all the people that are in Portsmouth. I don't want to tell somebody you have to work. It's volunteer. But I would appreciate anybody volunteering at least one Saturday every few months. And I'm talking everybody, the people that have been here from day one to the brand new people. I'm just asking for volunteers. So anytime that you guys know that there's this, oh, you know what, hey, I'm not going to be doing anything April 22nd next month, and that's on a Saturday. I'll just shoot me an email or come in and let me know, hey, if you need someone that Saturday. It's only dialysis. It's dialysis and an occasional courtesy. You get 4 to 6 hours in a day. You're gone. Some of you are gone by noon, some by 2. That's all I need. I just need volunteers that can help me out on a Saturday every once in a while just to get our dialysis done. Because I don't like to make anybody have to work on the weekend. Nobody wants to work on the weekend. But every now and again, you know, I'm not asking a lot. Just once every few months, if you guys can do that. Your cards. I know a lot of you have been noticing that it's emails or it's on the schedule. The FWA training. I've got a lot of emails right now from HR people whose background checks are getting ready to expire. If you guys can try to keep up on that, or if you know that, hey, I'm not getting any time to do this. A lot of you work, you'll come in before dark, you won't leave until it's almost dark. So if you guys know that your background check or driver's license, first aid, whatever, it's getting ready to expire, and you need can you bring me in not till noon, or you know, something, let me know. That way I can leave you guys off. There's going to be a lot of that coming up here in the next month as far as background checks, because there's a lot of people with background checks that are getting ready to expire. So did you do yours today? Okay, so I can mark you off.
I did my drug test yesterday.
Yeah, that's just a big thing. I don't want to leave I honestly can't afford to really leave anybody off the schedule. So if you guys know that you need it or you need some time to get it done, please by all means let me know, and I'll do my best to make sure that you have time throughout the day to go get it.
You know, it takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hello.
And usually I can get anybody in that, but so the dispatch knows you need 5 minutes, 10 minutes to run down and do this. Charlie's not going to throw a run on you, or Brandon's not going to do it to someone up there. So I try to put it on my spreadsheet and highlight it so they know not to use you. Give you 30 minutes to be able to get down there, get parked, get in, get it done, and get out. So there's a lot of those coming up. So anybody that knows that they're going to need it, that I might not have you on my list, see me later and make sure that I have you, and I'll be more than happy to make sure you get that half hour while you're here at work to go down and get it done. That's pretty much all I've got.
You guys, does everybody have their email set up? Anybody having trouble getting their email? I'm not going to be accepting emails that aren't sent from our company email. There's a variety of reasons why we like you guys having that. You know, you can send stuff down to compliance. HR will be contacting you. We send out the newsletter weekly, and I'm also getting a lot of classes going on what we call Moodle. It's online education. I don't know if there's anybody, probably a few that's probably taken.
You did our Moodle, didn't you?
Right, it's real easy to get set up, but you guys are going to have to be able to go through your company mail. That's where your registration info will be sent to log into Moodle, and we're going to have more classes coming up. And then also, you know, we'll probably have some, if you have poor documentation, there might be a documentation class or patient handling. We're going to have a lot of stuff to do on Moodle, so I'm going to need you guys to all be prepared with your company mail so that if you do get that email to set it up, that you guys will know what to do. You know, Mike pretty much does all the email stuff. If you guys have questions, you guys are here usually. You know that you can find him and maybe set up a time to meet with him, and he can get that set up for you. I know it's a little tricky on some of it, but he's here to help. And you know, if you guys are having problems, please get with him, because I need you guys to all have that email set up, and you guys are to be using it and checking it most days.
Alright, the fire extinguishers in your guys' vehicle, I don't know if you look at those tags, they have to be checked every so often. So when you're doing your truck check off, look at your tag to see when it expires. We have the fire extinguisher guy come here, he checks them every so often. That's expired, you need to pull it off, get you a new one in, and we'll have him stop by and check it off. That is something the state inspector will look at, is your expiration date on that. The other thing I just wanted to talk to you guys, it only applies to Portsmouth, is the parking. Do all you guys know where you're supposed to be parking in SLMC? Where you're supposed to park?
In the back.
Well, right, in the back. Or they just simply, they don't want you parking out front. They don't want you taking patients in and out of that front entrance and then pulling over by the handicap parking. They don't want us doing that. They want to reserve us, with an ambulance uniform, they want us to be going in and out back entrances, and that's their rules. We've got several emails. There for a while, I think we were getting an email every week from the hospital regarding that. So, and they want us to go in and out the ER entrance as well, where the ambulances are. And I know I've talked to Greg about this. A lot of times we got 6 trucks sitting there, and you know, it's hard for you guys to park to go in and out, but that's what they're wanting. So I'm going to try to comply, and then whenever there's an issue, we'll have to go.
I've already got one. If you park where the ambulance
Mhm.
trucks are supposed to,
Uh-huh.
the only way you can get down to that ER is take him out on that road all the way around and then back all the way over.
Well, there's a fence there, and I think they're wanting us to park down along that fence and push them up down that big hill too, which is not going to be very
They don't want
safe.
us, they don't want us to go
Yeah.
in gray doors in the Waller building deal.
You can go in that way, though. You can
Oh,
go in
okay.
that back entrance, but also they said the other entrance is you guys can go in the same entrance as the EMTs and paramedics are going in. You can go in that. Go on. Yeah. Do you have a question?
I was talking about that when you guys got first came out. I went there and talked to the guard about that one day.
Uh-huh.
And one of the guards there to the right of the ER where you go pick up people who've been discharged,
Uh-huh.
not with squadron. He told me, as long as we go and continue what we're doing, he told me it was fine. He said you just not pull under the ER part and go park in parking places and blow your patients all the way up in front. That's one thing he told me he was having a problem about. He told me as long as I go ahead and do what we was doing, parking where we're supposed to be parking, he told me he was fine with that.
But you're not parking out front, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he doesn't
No.
they don't want you guys parking out
He
front.
was talking about like where we're going to that candy, where the ER's at, where people getting discharged.
Okay, where the public
To
goes in and
handicap
out.
parking places that right there.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
are.
you can go in there too. And then also she said where we know where we're going in, and I seen a couple of you guys when I was up there doing ambulance calls. You'd have to, if you do park where the ambulance goes in, if you pull up under the rotunda, because you're not going to be able to push them up the hill, to be realistic. So if you pull under the rotunda like the ambulance does, you're going to have to wheel your patient in. You're going to take him around the corner to usually AJ or one of the nurses sitting there. You're going to have to leave your patient there, and then you're probably going to have to move your vehicle, and then you're going to have to come back and get your patient and take him where you're going. So right now it is very confusing, but we're just trying to comply with what the hospital asks. So
And the complaint actually has reached the executive level of the hospital, which is where we don't want complaints to reach. That we're not parking in the right place. So, we're usually pretty lenient on things such as that. We'll tell you a couple times, hey, don't park there. It's come to the point now where you will probably, there will be some actual punishment for not following the rules. So I want to make you guys aware of corrective action. I don't know if I have to make you guys sit through 5 hours of training on how to park and where to park. If it comes to that, you may have to do that, complete that on your own time.
So if we're parking where we're supposed to be at, we're fine.
Do not park out front.
Yeah,
Do not park at any public entrance.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're parking out back the wall,
Yeah,
stuff,
you're fine.
I think there's 2 signs that say ambulette parking at one. Okay.
You're talking about the bottom line.
Yeah, you can. You can park at the Waller building too, but you haven't had any complaints about that. Yeah, they do want your vehicles turned off.
Sometimes though, I know that we do fill up that parking lot, and we will have to park elsewhere.
Well, a lot of the SMC workers, the maintenance guys, they'll park their trucks there in that lot.
Yeah, just don't go in off the
Are
front.
we completely exempt from the parking garage by any means?
I mean, you're not going to push your patient from the parking
I
garage.
mean,
There's, you can park in the parking garage,
Oh.
but the big trucks will not fit.
Yeah, don't take the
Do not take it.
We did have
We
someone
have had
knock
to
off
fix
the
a few.
top one.
That's right.
So the sprinters
I
can't
guess we'll take the top of it off.
If
Yeah.
it'll fit. Now,
You're
I
fine.
will warn you though, if you take your vehicle in there and you knock off the top of your van and I turn that into the insurance, you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to say he's a non-driver. So you know what I mean? So I don't try taking a van any tight place that you think you're going to knock off the top of it or anything like that, because they're going to immediately make you a non-driver for something. So
That's why I don't go through drive first.
be careful, because I mean they're very strict. We just changed insurance companies too, so their driving restrictions are getting tighter. So
Get out and
Be
measure
careful.
first before you.
yeah,
I
get
have
out and
a
measure for you.
I had a patient try to do it to me one time. Grab one in Alexander House sitting there before he told
Yeah.
me that I can get under that canopy. I said, I don't know. I said, I can't see it. I'm not going to do it.
Right,
He tried to get me going. I said, I can't see it. I'm not going to do it. I said, I'll take you over here and I'll
right.
meet you up there.
Be
And that's
careful.
a very good point. Patients will tell you, oh yeah, go through the yard, that's fine. Oh, back out in the road, that's fine. Don't listen to anything your patients tell you. Okay? Let's think about it for a minute before you drive through someone's yard, because it will get expensive if Tim Clifford has to go get the tow truck and drag you out of the yard. Patients have said, oh yeah, drive through the creek. I watched a video a month ago when we had high water of the cab filling up with water of the truck, and the patient actually got their feet wet because oh yeah, drive through the water, it's fine. Don't do any of that, guys. Think before you do things.
That guy he's talking about, somebody, I guess, that patient sat there, he said it happened several years ago. Somebody tried to back up underneath there and it's all buckled up.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple things to remember, guys, is we write these policies. And these policies, a lot of them are written by us, and then a lot of them come from insurance companies that deal with ambulance services specifically and say this policy has had success. Now, you do not need to do anything other than what that policy tells you. Read those policies and know those policies, because those policies will give you the highest chance of success. You may do something, cut a corner, the policy tells you not to do it, and you may do it 1,000 times, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing goes wrong, but on the 1,001 time, you flip the patient over and hit their head, you have now created a major issue, not only for us, but for yourselves, and you've jeopardized your job. We do a lot of really cool things here at Fortune Ambulance. We have guys daily, they deliver babies, they cardiovert people, they bring people back from the dead. The highest liability in this company comes from what you do. There are more issues and more incidents that cause our insurance to have problems by what you guys do. So you have to remember that you don't need to cut a corner. You need to always be in the best interest of safety. Safety is the most important thing. We don't ever want to put you out in a position that you're not going to succeed. And we have grown. Some of you guys have been with us for several years. We have grown. We are the largest ambulance service in the state of Ohio. What we want to do is we want to continue to grow, and the only thing that's going to give us the success we need is holding you folks accountable. I don't want any of you guys to be here for 3 or 4 years and not be the best that you can be at your job. So if I see something that you shouldn't do, or compliance sees something that you shouldn't be doing, we're going to bring it to your attention. And we just want all you guys to be the best. We want you all guys to look at this as an opportunity. If you want to continue doing the ambulette, we want to be able to continue offering ambulette service. Every time there's an incident, it doesn't just affect you. It affects the insurance rates, and then that affects the revenue. We have to meet certain margins because we can keep buying trucks, but if we don't meet those margins, we're not going to buy any new trucks. There's not going to be any money to do it. So keep that in mind. We want to be able to maintain your trucks. When you guys have a problem, I want you to be able to go to the garage, take your truck down there, and they say, okay, we'll put a part on it. You know, I want everyone to hold everyone accountable. Not only me holding you guys accountable for not doing silly things and getting people hurt, but you hold us accountable. If you need something that you're not getting, if you need clarification on something, come to us and ask us. We want to give you the best chance for success, and that's the most important thing here.
Okay, I got a couple more things you can leave. Make sure you guys wash your vehicles. I know she was talking about the cleanliness of them. You don't really have to wash them at the end of the day. Just at least wash it one time while you're here. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all going home at the same time. You don't want to be waiting an hour to be able to wash your truck down here. So just wash it at least one time a day. If you do that, it should be clean. Make sure the inside is clean. But also, everyone go home, look at yourself in the mirror. Make sure you guys are all following the company uniform policy. You guys definitely do. You guys all look good. Congratulations. But there are some people that I see out here, especially this winter, that were wearing different collared hats or different collared jackets. And, you know, our company logo, it has to be on everything. So, unfortunately, that's the contract that we signed, the personnel that we're sending in to get that person and leaving. You know, you have to have our emblem on there. We will be issuing photo ID cards here in the very near future. We're going to stop putting your name on uniforms and give everyone an ID card. So that will be happening in the next couple weeks. So make sure you have that ID card. There will be a fee if you lose it and you need to replace it. But the first one doesn't cost anything. But I can't go out here making 25 ID cards every time you lose it every single week. So, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, and they might want to talk about too, I had a couple emails and a couple questions from ambulette drivers that have been here for a little while. And they were just asking about pay raises. When am I ever going to get a pay raise? And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, you guys, but we only get a certain amount from Medicaid for the trips that you guys are doing, and it doesn't really look like President Trump is going to increase that anytime soon. Okay, so unfortunately, we can only afford to pay you according to what we're collecting off of that trip. Um, Positive note, we do offer educational loans to you guys. The way to go about and get an increase within pay is going to be get an EMT certification. We have several people that are in EMT class now that are using our educational loan that we offer. We'll pay for your EMT class if you're a good employee. By good, I mean we will review your personnel file. We'll make sure you don't have repetitive call-offs, tardies, make sure you don't have multiple safety violations or complaints on you, and we want you all to succeed. So if we review that, you're putting forth the effort, trying to do a good job. We'll put forth the effort by paying for your EMT class down here at Shawnee State or wherever it may be, in hopes that you'll pass and definitely get a pay increase. Okay? So, anything else to add?
I do have one more thing on incident reporting and incidents. You guys get somebody in the ambulette, they fall back and hit their head, say they're fine, nothing's wrong. Remember that we are dealing with fragile people, elderly people. If that person dies 6 months later, then there is always a chance of liability that their family member may say, the day that ambulette driver took them, they were never the same after that. There are a lot of things that aren't exactly right, but they will tie that back to the day you took them, and all that's going to do is cost a lot, whether it was your fault or not. So double check everything. Make sure that these small incidents, minor incidents, because an insurance company, and that's one of the biggest costs of our company, is insurance. An insurance company doesn't only look at the severity of an incident. If you actually drop somebody and hurt them real bad, they look at the amount of occurrences you have. And we set it through a few days of meetings with our insurance carrier, and they said, you guys are starting to get a lot of incidents. You guys are starting to have a lot of problems. Now, a carrier is going to look at that and say, the more you have, the higher the likelihood of a major incident happening. So I want you guys to remember that every minor little thing that we have to report goes into a spreadsheet that gets thrown back at us a year from now. So we do have to keep that cost down, and that is a cost that a lot of ambulance companies, when it gets too high, they have trouble with their operation. We're not anywhere near that. We're pretty good, but that's why we want to have these meetings and tell you, before you get in the driver's seat and take off, double check you got 4 straps on your patient. That's something that's minor. And you may think the policy says 4 straps, and I put 3 on and save myself 30 seconds and a drop of sweat. That ain't gonna do you any good on that 1,000th time when you hurt somebody. So just be really careful. Leave early for your runs. Don't pull out of here quick in front of somebody. Go around the block. Do these things that can just save people's lives, save people from getting hurt. Because the last thing you guys ever want to do is go out and hurt somebody.
Yeah,
you don't come to work.
We saw that earlier today. Somebody pulled out, and just go down right in front of Subway at the light, take a left, and go around, because people come flying.
It's 30 seconds or a minute of your time you're getting paid for it. Take your time, guys. Leave a few minutes earlier. Get to the patients. And another aspect of it is not only are we taking care of patients, we're taking care of clients and customer service. Get there a few minutes early. Shake the patient's hand. Introduce yourself to their family. Tell them, hey, we're taking you over to the doctor today. What radio station do you like? Get them in your truck and be nice to them. Customer service is another big part of this, as compared to if you show up 5 minutes late, you grab them by the wheelchair, push them in your truck, and then leave. That's a much different customer experience than if you're there 10 or 15 minutes early. You talk to them, introduce yourself, you're nice to them, take them. A lot of times these people don't have a lot of visitors, and you guys are going to be the highlight of their week. Oh, I got to go down to the doctor. I got to go, out and see the leaves changing, or it was a sunny day, a nice time for a ride.
And that's honestly, that's how people are getting more hours, like as far as wheelchair drivers. It's because I have patients who request certain drivers, and there's some patients that won't go with anybody but that specific driver because of the experience that they had with them. So he's coming in at 4 o'clock every, 3 days a week because that patient wants to go with him. So the more patient requests you get, any patient that requests somebody, that's who I try to send no matter what. So.
And vice versa, if the
3 o'clock,
patient
4 o'clock.
requests for you not to pick them up, and you have a whole list of patients that don't want you guys to pick them up anymore, now your hours are probably going to be cut because Missy's putting together that schedule, and she's saying, well, Brian, he can't take this patient, can't take this patient, can't take this patient. Well, she's not going to waste her time much more with me because she has 15 other drivers that can go and take all these patients. So the better job that you guys do, basically, the more hours you're most likely going to see. So always think about it. And then more people that are going to want to use our service also. So, always think of it as a competition out there.
The last thing I want to say, guys, is this is kind of an informational meeting. I don't want to scare anybody. We're cracking down. Something's going on. You guys are working here, and you guys are in this room talking to us right now because we trust you to go out and get people. Because you guys are the best around. When you guys have been trained, you guys know what you're doing. A lot of you guys have been doing this for a couple of years. You guys are the best, and I appreciate every day when I get to come in and see you guys and they're joking with the dispatchers or having a good time while you're here. That's what we want. We want to have a good environment. We want you guys to all have a good time and be the best that you can be at your job. And you guys are all it. I live here in town. When somebody goes out and does something silly and gets themselves in trouble, people see me out and they tell me about it. And the same happens more times. People come up to me and say, I had that guy the other day and he was great. My mom was in Chillicothe and your driver took her and everything went great. They were so nice. They did such a good job. And that's what I like hearing. And that's what I like from you guys. You guys do an amazing job. Just keep it up, but just attention to detail and always err on the side of caution. Always be safe. Don't ever do anything that puts anyone in danger. And maybe we'll have another meeting in a few months and say how good things have gone a little different. We have a few less incidents. We have noticed last month a little bit of slack on the safety side, a little bit of slack on the seat belts. Let's make sure we do it all and do the best job.
Okay. Now the whole reason for this meeting is because we're getting a lot of complaints in regards to patient care. It might not necessarily be whoever's in this room, but the way we look at it is if we have your name on this paper and you were a part of this meeting and we know that we talked to you, we get another complaint like the ones we've been getting, we know who to come to, and you were here, you knew not to do this kind of thing. One of the things, this is for my husband, everybody knows Chris York, you need, as far as your checkoffs, he's getting maybe 2 or 3 wheelchair checkoff sheets. Everybody, it's mandatory